can't seem to get over.
Bullets it would take to kill her, his mama used to say. She's not.
I want to know what people are saying because I can defend myself now where I couldn't 30 years ago. I couldn't do anything about anything.
And Pat and Bubba, have been loyal to you. Pat was just astounded. And she didn't even tell me what Barbara said. She said, I didn't want to hear it. I told her she was asking the wrong person, that I wasn't there when it happened and didn't know anything about it. And then Barbara said, what, yeah, but something. And she just said, well, she went, yeah, but, and I said, well, Barbara, you know what this family's like. Would have said something like they would have condemned her. She would have been an outcast or something. Like 30 years ago or something like that. I can't even remember. And I said it was for people that want to drag up something and say to talk about from 30 years ago is in bad shape.
Well, I just didn't. I felt like if I didn't have any family support now of all times, that I don't need anybody in the family. So I didn't know how your family felt about it or anybody that's talked about it.
When I told him I'd gotten to talk to Mike, he was just, because, that was just killing him because he wanted to talk to him too. I've always, in my heart, I've always never forgotten that he was there, that there was another child, and prayed for him and hoped for him. And you're my sister, and I would fight the world for you. And I think my children, they know how I feel about you, and I think they feel the same way. That's just the way they grew up, feeling that way. And Ting does too. And that's the only family I think about. I think about having is you and Mark and Bubba and Pat. And, this would have been a wonderful opportunity if the family wanted to be a family. They could have ministered to Bubba and Pat during this time. They could have been going by the hospital.
Yeah.
Doing things for them. Helping them. But
so when I called Moni the other night, first thing she says, I haven't heard from Melissa. So I just haven't even told her that we visited with them and everything and went to see Miss Shan.
I haven't talked to her. I know she's probably in Dallas.
Yeah, she went
but
Friday.
I need to call her again because I'm not, I don't stay bad or hold a grudge or nothing. I just didn't want to talk about, we just disagreed about that one thing when she wanted to talk about Justin, and I just disagreed with her. And that was it. You just have to disagree and go on, but I let my feelings be known about it.
Yeah, and she didn't like it because but that's too bad. That's why I didn't allow it to come up again on my part to open her up because I would have had to done the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I just have not mentioned the fact that we were by there and saw all of them to get her started again because she just wants information to talk about.
Yeah, she's got how old is 75 years
6,
old.
Yeah.
She's always loved. So people just, whatever they're like, you just get worse as you get older. As they say, whatever you're like when you're young, it just gets worse when you get older. So she likes to talk.
But I just didn't. I just clammed up when she mentioned Melissa or Miss Shan. I just didn't tell her.
That's the reason why when the incident happened that I didn't call and tell. She didn't know about it until Miss Shin went back in the hospital the second time, and I just knew that how they felt about Justin, and I just didn't want to get into it. I wish Bubba had said he was driving the truck and left all that out, but I guess it wouldn't have been the truth.
Well, I don't know, but I'm glad she's doing better. And, so I guess I won't call Barbara, but I got so mad I felt like just driving back down there.
Well, see that makes me feel so bad because that was all my fault.
No, because I want to know what people are saying.
Bliss. Well, Barbara Kennedy is one person,
She's not a people.
and she don't count. I can tell you, everybody knows how vicious she is. Her own family can't get along with her. Even, Kathy can't. And then none of them. Every time she causes fusses, every time they all get together, that wonderful picture they portray there, like they have this wonderful family in Christmas, and they're all miserable. If she don't get to sleep in a certain room or bed, she throws a fit. She makes their lives miserable.
Ed told me and Kathleen at Jerry's wedding that when Barbara comes to their house, she opens their refrigerator to see if they've got any beer in it so that she can talk about them.
Yeah, they got it. That's the reason. They stayed mad at each other for a long time because the way she did them about beer. And I thought, my God, a gossiping tongue is a lot worse than drinking a can of beer. And the way she did about Gail, she tried to poison children again.
Yeah, and she succeeded.
And she raked up stuff like they slept together before they were married and all kind of stuff like that. Well, maybe Barbara never did anything like that, but I'll tell you this. What she does with her tongue, to me, is worse than any kind of...
Well, they had a good teacher, and that was Essie. She had a real good teacher.
That's right. They are two of a kind.
So I'll never darken her doorway again. I don't care if it is on the way to Bibby's if I ever go out there again. And because they're going to talk about me if I go or I don't go. So, as far as all the Kennedys go, I'm through with them after that trip, and I just couldn't.
I'm glad I went to that thing they had on, whatever, family reunion, I don't even call it that.
No.
I'm glad I went because it got the Shreveport out of my system. I'll tell you, I kept thinking, well, I could go back. I would love to go and take care of Aunt Savannah, or this or that or the other. Well, that's over with now. I don't belong there.
When I got back, I didn't. Usually, you enjoy your trip, but I felt bad all week. Depressed and just bad. Because I didn't enjoy parts of it. It was just very unpleasant, and that was the tail end of Bibby's visit and Essie's. And I
didn't feel anything when I was there. I didn't feel the kinship that I used to feel. Something, and I didn't feel that kinship that everybody was cordial and they were just like they were talking to a stranger. And I thought at first to myself, well, I've just stayed away too long. There hasn't been a continuity here of a relationship or something. But it's more than that. To me, it's just like a curse that's come over that whole family. It's just like...
Well, you were in the Kennedy's house, weren't you?
Yeah.
That's my main thing.
And I don't think anybody's ever welcome there. I don't know why Kathy ever started doing that, having them things.
No.
I went to one at her house that I enjoyed, but I didn't feel welcome there. I didn't ever. All it brought back was childhood memories of how Mommy would treat me when I was a child.
So,
And I don't need it. I'll tell you, I can make friends with
Somebody said, Mary said, you can do without your family, but you can't do without friends.
I have friends, and I have had black friends through the years that mean more to me than the Kennedys do.
Yeah, 3 of my people I like the best here in Nashville are black, and I can't go the racist stuff in Shreveport. I just can't go it. So I don't agree with it, and that's just the way I feel about it. So, but I wanted to know how everybody felt about me, and if I was being condemned by your family.
I never heard one negative thing, because that what would there be? I just don't know how anybody feels like they can condemn,
I just wanted to know.
Let him who's without sin cast the first stone. Who in the world has lived such a life that they could say? But even apart from that, I haven't heard anything except that's the only thing I've heard.
With your children?
And like I said, Barbara didn't say anything to me. about it. Just said she's sorry Charlotte couldn't make it there. But that
They
was.
weren't sorry.
But as that was the only thing I've heard that was.
I mean, with your family, so, because nobody talks
Well,
about
I
it.
thought I told you that they was all glad that you found him. But they wouldn't think about condemning and saying what she should have done or she shouldn't have done. They don't.
Well,
And I don't know of anybody that wouldn't. I don't even think Kathy or Ed would or even Norval, but who cares?
I don't care about
I
them.
don't care about them. I don't have no. I'm just as void of feeling about them people, and I just believe it was God just took it away. And I'm turning, I'll find something else to build my life with. I'm enjoying taking care of those little people in the nursing home. Just something simple. I don't care about
Yeah.
much money. I used to think big salaries was where it was, and I don't even feel like that anymore.
Well,
None of us know how many years we got left, and I'd just like to do something to help somebody.
I went and applied for a second job yesterday. They've cut out all our overtime, and that's what I was kicking up my heels on, and that's why I was able to fly Mike here and do all we did, and so I'm gonna do that for a while if I can get it until the holidays, and if we have to work holidays, I'll just quit. So
Yeah. Well, they cut that. They sent out a letter to him. Was just, he had figured that if he just made like I've forgotten how he did like 5 hours, like an hour or two here and there, like maybe 10 hours on a pay period,
yeah,
that it would make up the difference between
yeah,
what I didn't make now because I'm not making much over at the nursing home. So they sent out a letter and said that, no more overtime.
yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
positively, no more.
And it hurts once you get
So
used to it.
everybody's cutting back.
That cuts me out of a average of 150 a payday. I was getting a lot of overtime,
Yeah.
so I can make it up on that little job uh, until
Is it
holidays start.
retail?
No, it's phone. It's working through Bell South.
Oh, like what you used to do?
Phone survey. No, you call them after they've had
Oh,
repairs or something,
oh,
or get a new service. You call them and ask them how they would rate it. I've had people call me and do a survey, like from Nissan when I'd
well,
go in.
that's one good thing about living in a big town is you can always find a good job. There ain't nothing here.
Well, no, I feel very blessed, but I just don't want to do without that money because I need to save up for Thanksgiving, and if I ever can get the chance to, uh, well, probably meet up with Mike again, I'd have to pay for the airline tickets
Yeah.
and stuff. Um, so I don't know, how I can arrange for him to come to a central place. So, y'all can meet him. I haven't figured out how to do that. Uh, and his schedule is busy.
Well, I thought Moni said something about he played at a band in Dallas.
He's played there. There's two places that he plays. One, but one is a lesbian bar because the leader of the band he's in is a lesbian.
Well,
So
does he go there and just stay, or he drives
they
back?
they play and then they go back. They drive back.
Oh,
And the other one is a nice club in an old French Quarter type setting that Moni knows where it is, Deep Ellum in Nashville. I mean in Dallas. Uh, so anyway, yeah, he does. So I guess if he ever plays the one they can go to, that they'll go. They'll go. I guess they'd be nice to him.
I'm
So,
sure they would. And Charlotte, I don't even think it just like that about Randy. Just like Bibby and them, if he does have, like if it was cocaine and he has liver damage or whatever alcohol,
yeah.
I would never think about feeling condemning about anything like that.
No, I was
It's
glad
just
he's.
like I told Pat, I said, I've ruined my body with food, overeating all my life, and
I was glad to see Randy.
and so what? How is that any different than somebody might drink or whatever happened to him.
Yeah. Well, I was glad to see him, you know.
I was too. I was really glad to see him at that. He's always been funny, and he was cheerful and everything.
Yeah. And Baby said she wanted to meet Mike, and Randy said, "Well, I do too."
Bless his heart.
But Baby seemed genuinely
I believe
happy.
she is. I
Yeah.
don't think she can be anything, but
Yeah. She just said Mother was a miserable soul. And that's what Moni said too when I told her how Mother treated.
well, and just keep up. But see, she always kept up a different appearance to keep up appearances or whatever for whatever reason. But she put them before her children.
Yeah.
She put her sisters before her children.
And when I called her that night from the hospital at midnight and told her it was a boy, and she said, "Well, you ought to hate him," just with so much evil and venom in her voice. Because she did. I was supposed to.
She just wanted to convince you, I guess, or something. But well, when I went up to tell her that me and Tina got married, she turned her head away from me and looked the other way. It was like a total rejection. But
Yeah. So she was a sick person, and I guess she made us sick in the process. But she was not a mentally healthy person.
no.
So it's a wonder I'm even still here.
But you are, and we have a future. We have a hope and a future, and we still have a family and each other, I feel like. And just like, the thing about, I was thinking the other day, that thing about Moni and talking about Justin, I need to just skip over that and not.
Well, I'll have to tell her if she brings it up with me. I'll just have to tell her in a nice way that I don't want to hear it.
Well, I just
Because that's
disagree.
my family.
Yeah, and I just told her, I said, I just disagree with having that kind of, I disagree with talking about people like that. There's some other things you can do to help them instead of condemning them. I just don't believe in it.
No.
And I don't want to hear it. It distresses me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go. I worked last night now.
Well, if do y'all want to try to have a get together with Mike? I don't know how to put it together, or when, next year or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to. I think it would be.
But I don't know how to do it where I could include Bubba and Pat, and Melissa, and y'all, and your children. I mean, it's not like he can just come on our beck and call because he's got schedules too.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well,
know.
it's something for us to be thinking about and how we could do it.
Into Shreveport or because Bubba and Pat can't go nowhere.
No, they can't.
So, and they would feel left out.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to do that, do it that way. So, y'all could go to Shreveport.
Yeah, that would be easy for us.
But I don't know about your boys. If they would feel it was important enough to go to.
Well, I think they would. I think they'd enjoy it. I like going to, like we do about state parks,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it.
Sort of would be I was thinking some neutral place where everybody could.
Well, I'll have to figure on that. I don't know if I don't know about Louisiana State Parks. I guess I can get a brochure on it.
Yeah. Of course, if we was on in Shreveport, we could go to Camp Margaret.
Oh, it's so hot down there.
I know it. That's the truth.
And I just wanted to have it for our family, and I don't want any of the Kennedys involved in it. I would, and just do it unannounced. Only us know about it, and I could call maybe Bibby if she wanted to come, and that'd be it. Uh, so the state park is a good idea. That would give him a place to stay,
Yeah.
and uh, then whoever could get there could come, and I'll just have to see what's available.
Yeah, we could maybe something in East Texas or something. We just have to find out. Like you said, something.
But how far can Bubba and Pat
Well,
go?
we'd have to go get, just like me and Teen could go pick them up, or something, or rent them a car or something. If we.
Or East Texas or Arkansas, right? Or South Arkansas?
Yeah, something we'll have to.
Or
There's nothing in south. The closest thing in Arkansas, I think, is up towards Hot Springs, and
that's too far.
yeah, that's too far. I know they have some really pretty things around where Sis and them used that going towards San Antonio and all that Brazos River, but that's too far. And I don't know what they've got in Louisiana. They may have something there.
But would it need to be like on a holiday weekend? Like probably.
Yeah, it probably would if we was gonna get Hank and Tim, and Hank goes to Shreveport so much anyway. It would be not, he'd probably be glad to
Well, I'll try to find something close to within
plan a trip.
100-mile radius of Shreveport.
Yeah, and we could get Bubba and Pat there some way.
Yeah, and Melissa's got good vehicles, so they could come.
And Si and Toby are living in Lafayette, but Bubba told me that Toby joined the Marine Reserve.
Yeah.
He's upset. Did you know about it?
He's told that, when we was having lunch.
Well, anyway, he said he hated he did it. They had told him not to do it, but, he can't control them kids.
No.
And he's in in college, so he could probably get the officer training.
Yeah.
So he would never have to be a foot soldier if they did have something trouble.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they're trying to make something of themselves.
I am too, I think.
Toby's probably going to come out the best.
Oh, that they've got a little ambition. I was just worried to death that they had never had anybody will live out any kind of work ethic or anything.
Well, I'll be trying to figure out something and see what we can do, and and I'll just have to see what I can work out. But it would have to be a holiday weekend, and the only thing we got is Labor Day's going to be too soon.
Yeah.
And then Thanksgiving and Christmas is pretty well taken up, so it may have to be next year. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we can just be kind of thinking about it, so maybe something will come to us. We can, because I had already looked through the Arkansas things for something down, closer around Shreveport, and there wasn't anything.
Huh. Well.
As far as state parks go, and of course there may be something private, like cabins or something that.
Oh, it looks like Toledo Bend or something in East Texas ought to have.
Yeah, would have a place where they had nice cabins. I can ask Ting about that.
Yeah. Big enough that, let's see, me and Mark and Mike, I don't know if he'd bring his wife. I don't know, he may. And then y'all, well, how many people is that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
for us.
Definitely. Well, everybody would just get their own cabin, I guess. And if it was close enough, Beverly and them might just drive back and forth from their house.
We'll see. 2 bedrooms and I can always bring a rollaway bed. You can rent them for $15 a week. I could bring a couple of those, but we'll see. And then, but everybody would have to go that time because it's kind of hard to work out the schedules with him. Actually.
Well, it'll take some doing to get us all, to get all my children there. But if 1 or 2 of them could come, Willis is the hardest to get, because it's just hard for him to get off work, and he goes to school too now. So that's another thing, is that it's hard for him to find him when he can get off work and get and no, he's not in school.
Yeah.
But
But
I know,
Tim,
and Tim and Hank both always love a trip. And they both said they'd love to meet him. I think they've all said that they hope they get to meet him.
well, um, well, I just didn't know how everybody felt, but
Well, I can
because I hadn't.
assure you that none of us has felt any condemnation, except the only thing I look back is, just wish we'd have done it differently, but we didn't. And I
Yeah.
just can't. You just, can't go back and change anything.
No. So that makes me feel better to know that.
But I never have heard it know of anybody that would. When I think I called Bibi one time and she said, I've got a letter from Charlotte. She said, I just have to say this. She said, bring this up. She said, I got a letter from Charlotte. I guess I told you that.
No.
And she said, Eva was wrong, wrong, wrong. So I said, Bibi, nobody knows that any better than I do. And I said, it was 30 years ago.
But I felt it was time when I was doing my Christmas cards. I didn't know if anybody knew it, but I just felt that's something I had to do, so I just wrote her a note in her card that I'd found the son that mother made me give up for adoption 30 years ago, and that we were all happy about it.
Well,
And
I think it was something to, just the fact that you wanted them to rejoice with you and share that with you would be a time for a family to rally around somebody, if they were really a family, if you really were a family. So all I can say about the Kennedys is that we never were a part of them anyway.
yeah,
We're not a part of them.
uh-uh.
Anybody that would come at a time when you opened up and shared with them so they could rejoice with you, and instead they chose to, sit on their little handful of thorns, well, then we're not a part of them. And I
Right.
don't want to be anymore.
So, well, that makes me feel better, so, I can, just to know that, that, you're part of the family cares.
And I know Bubba does. He was, they thought it was terrible from day one that, how they feel about family and children and all. He always acted like he cared about Mark and my boys like he did his.
Well, because that bothered me all week after I got back from down there, just everything. So I figured I could be like Sophie. But, it's just that we don't talk about things. We never have.
No, that's what I told Hank. I said, that this thing, what the oddest thing about it is that the sickest thing about it is that for 30 years, nobody ever said one word about it. Never brought it up. Acted like if you didn't talk about it, it wasn't there. But it was, and I never talked to my children about it, and I never talked to Ting about it. So it was almost like it was such a trauma that I never have been able to talk about it without crying. So things that you can't talk about without crying, I would always just not talk about. But that has been, if that's, like, I know I have some things in my life that's not healthy, that's mentally unhealthy, and one of them is that I can't talk about deep things or express deep things.
Well, I still can't talk about this without crying, but, I mean, the first thing he got out of his suitcase when he came in was a little envelope of baby pictures, and I told him I couldn't look at them.
Well, I know how you feel, because I couldn't, that picture you sent me that he could, I can't look at it.
But, uh, he had gotten he brought about 10 pictures of when he was a baby and when he was about with him and his brother when he was growing up, when he was, I guess, about 4 or 5. And I had to make myself look at him because he wanted me to. And he left me, he gave me the one of him when he was 4 months old when they first got him.
Well, the first thing Tim did when he got here was I think I had told him that I had some pictures from when he was in Nashville, and he could get me the pictures. So he thought he said he looked just like you.
Yeah, but I thought that one of him that I sent you standing with his brother, I thought he favored Hank.
Well, he looked like all of them. He looked like Mark. He looked like, I don't know. He just, every once in a while I'm flipping through there and accidentally come up on it, and it's just like a knife in my heart.
Well, yeah, how do you think I felt? But I put them in a frame and they're in my bedroom. And I see them every day. And the baby picture, and because that's reality, I have to look at them.
I need to just start praising God and thanking God that he's alive and that we have a future.
And when he was here that Saturday night before, after we left Mary's, we were going to go out to eat, and I just couldn't stop crying, and I just couldn't get myself together. And he walked out on the, I kept going in the bathroom, and they didn't know what was wrong, and I just couldn't stop crying because of just the sadness of it all. And he went out on the balcony, and I went out there, and because it was just getting so, I mean, I think Mark went in his room, and so I just told Mike that I just couldn't stop being sad about it.
What did he say?
I told him I just couldn't stop crying to get over the sadness of us being separated. And he, of all people, was trying to console me. And he said he was never angry. He never hated me. And that he believed, he's a firm believer in that things happen for a reason. And he said he gave his parents a lot of problems. And I said, well, I blame myself for all that because you were adopted. He said, I would have given you the same problems. And he just said, he knew we weren't talking about it the whole time he was here. And he said, we need to talk about it. And he said, this is heavy. It's a real heavy thing, and we need to talk about it. So I just told him I was sorry I couldn't stop crying. And oh, he said, well, is there anything I could do? And I just said, no.
Well, sure, there does need to be a healing there of your guilt and, to be able to, it is possible, I believe, to be healed of that. I mean, just like both of us. I mean, you carry a heavy burden of guilt. I know I do too. And, we need to be able to say that that was something that happened and it was a tragedy and just look forward to tomorrow and be able to forgive everyone involved in it. Forgive Mother and know that God promises all things work together for good. Everything, our mistakes and our failings and our good things and our bad things, they all work together for good, and that good can come out of it. Perfect good can come out of it. But for you to be able to really enjoy him and, to restore some of the missing links would be to be able to, just to do like he said. That was something that it wasn't the perfect thing, it was a totally imperfect thing that happened in our lives that we would give anything if we could change, but we can't change it. Ting is the one that's so realistic about things like that when I just get bogged down in grief and guilt, and he'll say, everybody has things that happened in their life that they wish they could undo or wish they could go back and do over again, but we can't. And just excessive grief is hard on you, and it's hard on Mike, and it's hard on Mark, and it's hard on all, it would be hard on all of us. Everybody that we all love each other, and for us just to be thankful, for us to face every day with thanksgiving that Mike wanted to see you, was interested in.
Because he didn't have to. A lot of adopted children don't.
No, they wouldn't have any interest
No.
in it at all, but he did, and I believe that was just a miracle of God. I believe that God meant for that to happen someday, that y'all would be together, and there's just so much good already that's come out of it that and that wonderful time y'all had together, and we can look forward to having, some more times together and all, that he would be a part of us. And
well, I think he needs to know that his biological family wants to know him and that they care about him.
yeah. I think that, would be for, like, to meeting his cousins.
Yeah. Melissa said her and Alan had talked about having a gathering just for the cousins. But anyway,
But I would hope that you would be able to just just hold the hurt and everything open to God and ask him to just heal it, to just heal you, and you would go and not to feel guilty, because I always think every time about my children that if I did something wrong or I did this wrong. I grieve about when they were all little and when Mark and all of them was little, and I was always so, just banging and slamming and yelling and I just tried to do too much. I was trying to work and I always wanted them to have this really perfect time, and then I'd end up just making life miserable for everybody. And I feel so guilty about that now, and I have to remind myself that we have today. Nobody lives a perfect life. Life is just not perfect, and some people sometimes have to go through some really bad things. And the operative word is we go through it. God said he takes us through the valleys.
well, you need to ask all the boys you need to talk about it with them.
I know it.
And ask
Every
them.
time I
They'll
try to
probably
bring,
laugh about it.
well, they say they don't. Every time I tried to do that with Willis this last Mother's Day when I was up there, and I was trying to tell them about something, and I start crying, and they get uncomfortable, I think.
Well,
I say, Mother, I don't even remember stuff like that. All I remember is the good times. So I need to listen to that and to realize that, that was yesterday. I got hung up in grieving about their childhood. I just got stuck there, and I couldn't seem to get through it. And I grieved and felt guilty about things. And then I realized that wasn't, that was making them miserable every time I got around them. Thinking that's all I talked about was what a bad mother I was.
well, they probably don't feel that way.
Everybody's so, young men are so caught up in their own lives and everything that they don't even think about it, I don't think. And we need to take a cue from them and just gotta go on with our lives and be thankful for every day.
I asked Mark if have I traumatized him as a child, and because I just never was a happy person, and because I never was I don't feel like he had a whole mother. And he just acts shocked that I even asked him
I
that.
know it. They all had a ball when they was growing up. Willis's happiest memories was him and Mark being down there with Mama.
And
And
he said, no, I had a happy childhood.
I know what they all had. We always had big. We always had big times and big Christmases and everything.
He just said, I just remember that you cried a lot.
Well, I have a melancholy. Both of us have this melancholy personality, Charlotte. I've got it too, and I know that I just, instead of most people don't even bother with some of the things that I get all feel bad about.
Well, if I could just stop crying about Mike, I think my life would be a lot better. Uh, so I did go to a support group a month ago. I didn't make it this last Monday because we had just gotten back from that trip. But it's birth mothers and adoptees that are searching. Some have found, some have not. Uh, and I was the only one that broke down and cried in the meeting. But because I can't talk about it to new people without crying.
Well, I think it's something in our personality because I have the same thing that I'm so emotional, all this excessive crying and everything. Is I know that that some people just have a melancholy personality, and I think I was sad when I was a kid. I think I was always sad.
I was always sad.
And never was really, so I don't know.
I don't think we had it. I don't know if it's something genetic or we just didn't have. I don't ever remember being told I was loved or being supported emotionally. I think we had an mentally unhealthy mother and uh, home life, and I guess it'll affect us forever.
Well, I think we can just rise above the shadow. I keep reading. I read books. I think support groups are good, but I read. I read
I'd rather
books
read.
that try to help me and about just t- changing the way you talk, your self-talk, and change the way that you talk to yourself. And instead of, when I start thinking, oh, that was, really so bad, I just change that, and I just start saying, God, I thank you that I have today, and that you'll give me an opportunity to do better every day that I live, and I'm going to put the past behind me. Paul said, this one thing I do, I forget what lies behind, and I press forward to what lies ahead. And I just tried to make that my motto in life, and to do good wherever I can to somebody. And I try to be good to Ting and be good to, be a better wife and a better mother every day.
Well, uh, we just needed to talk about it, and I feel better since we've talked about it. Uh, and just try to go forward from there.
I think so too, and I think the boys, all of our boys, have a good time together.
Yeah. So I'll just try to start figuring out how to do it and work my little part-time job so I can afford it.
Well, we'll just all pitch in.
And, because I would have to fly him and her if, uh, you know, that'd be the only
Yeah.
fair thing to do because his trip here didn't cost him one thin
Well,
dime.
that was good. I mean, that was
I didn't feel like it should. Uh, and he had a good time, and we were getting ready for him Mother's Day, and I didn't know if I would hear from him. I'd read about that they don't acknowledge the birth mother, and he called that afternoon, and of course I was just elated. Uh, I mean, he's a very, very caring person. Uh,
Well, I think that speaks well of his upbringing.
yeah, he's very
He must be comfortable with who he is and everything.
well mannered, and he called me to wish me Happy Mother's Day, and I was shocked, but I was so happy because I was kind of preparing myself for not hearing from him, but he did call, so that meant a lot to me.
Well, I just think everything like that is just something to be thank God for and to take is just a moment that God is in it all.
So we'll just try to plan for a meeting, a reunion,
Okay.
a real family reunion.
Yeah. I know. And people that love each other, my
Yeah.
God.
So I know I've been using up your money, but
Well, I didn't matter. I sat down here to call. I was here by myself, and I'm not usually sleepy when I first get home, but I always
I've talked you to sleep, I guess.
no, I'm always so sleepy when I get ready to go up there. I don't think I never get used to going out to work at
Uh-uh.
11 o'clock at night. But then after I get there, stuff starts happening, and then you just can't think about being sleepy then. When you get
No, but
all the stuff that goes on up there. But it's fun. Them old people are funny. That's where they call them residents now. They say we work in their home. It's changed. Nursing homes have changed. I mean, they're regulated now.
yeah.
Medicare and Medicaid and the state and all. They come through there, and there can't be any odor. They said if they're taken care of and dried and cleaned and everything flushed when it happens, then there is no excuse for odor.
Well, that's good. You work in a good one.
Yeah. So we're under. They can't put them in restraints unless the doctor orders it.
Yeah.
If they do, you have to take them out every 2 hours and exercise. And so it keeps it easy. But they're funny. Some of them are just hilarious. They get